What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Sullivan Project podcast. I'm your host, Harold Sullivan. I hope you're all having a good energy day. Blessings. And we're going to talk about some kid groups and movies and some cool sci-fi flicks. Also, a little bit about Linda Blair and some animated films. Recently, I talked about a few of those, so I got a couple more of those. Check out previous episodes on YouTube and TikTok under Harold Sullivan 78, and then Facebook is Harold Sullivan period 35. You can email hs19782015 at outlook.com, and you can call the show 724-513-1472. I just saw Orb a couple seconds ago. In case y'all haven't tuned in before, I lost my sight in June. It'll be 4 years. And I was born with an autoimmune disease, so I haven't been able to do a lot. I've been in a wheelchair since I was a child, and I wasn't supposed to make it. So we're all here for a reason, you know. Everyone has a story, and you can't judge a book by its cover. So that's what this podcast is all about. If you want to come on and be a guest, audio or video, let me know. Or just, hit like or subscribe, follow, whatever, comment. We appreciate it. Love is a choice and so is to hate. So I recently did some talked about fun animated kids movies, and Brave is another one. It was pretty cool. I checked that out before I lost my sight. Very colorful. It was about a woman who wanted to prove she could, be tough and do what the guys could do. And lots of reds and greens. I used to like them Disney animated and stuff like that, Pixar, because they were just very, they tickled your eyes, you know what I mean, with the colors and stuff, even though they were for kids, And Puss in Boots, of course, I mentioned Shrek in them, but Puss in Boots had a couple of his own, like movie and then some shorts, and so those are really good as well. And then actually, I got to go to Steel City Con, so we're gonna have that episode coming up here with some interviews from celebrities. And Linda Blair, I met her, so I want to talk about her. I didn't know she was originally from this area, the Pennsylvania area. She's real little, they said. She's real tiny. I don't know, maybe she's on meds or something. She seemed like she might be on a little something that keeps her a little wired, but she's depressed maybe. That's what my psychic was picking up. But she seemed okay. I mean, functioning anyway. Just really tiny and skinny, and she's only like 5 foot something, real short. Henry Winkler, I met him. He was short too as well, 5'5", and you wouldn't think the Fonz was that little, but my sister's like 5'2", 5'3", and he was right there. So with her, she said, I always ask all these things because I want to know when I'm missing out with my sight, and then I can relay it on y'all in case you haven't met these people. So then we have that. We have Linda Blair. We have a couple cartoons there, and we're going to talk about some kid groups and movies here. Let's see here. Let me remember what I can, and I'm going to the audio. First, we got one, The Goonies. I mean, come on now. That was the kids going to find One-Eyed Willie's treasure, and Corey Feldman was in that, and Josh Brolin, and that Chinese Asian boy from Indiana Jones, and I think what was this? Sean Astin was the other boy. It's just an all-star cast pretty much. Of course, directed by Richard Donner. And then you had that one old lady, I don't know, remember her name, the Fratelli's lady, and then you had Chunks and one little boy. And great cast though, but it's called The Goonies. It's for kids. There's a little bit in there, but I mean, it's pretty much kids. Then there's a Sandlot, which is similar, which is some kids and they play baseball, and the ball goes next door, and you're not supposed to go over the fence, that type of deal. And there's a dog, and it's another one that's kind of like that. I think Monster Squad is another one, and that's about some kids actually fighting Dracula and Werewolf and Mummy and Frankenstein, and it's like a late 80s, early 90s as well. Let's see what else I got here. Stupid audio recorder went off already. What else? Super 8 was a movie with some kids, and they were filming this, went on the recorder, and then some monster got loose, and they were picking this stuff up. Little Rascals is a remake. There's a movie, but there was an old TV show. It was black and white, which is just kids getting in trouble, but it's all kids. It's hilarious. Buckwheat, he didn't talk very well. Then Alfalfa always had his hair sticking up in this one spot. It's just very good. Little Giants is a Rick Moranis, and then the dude who played Al Bundy and Married with Children, Ed O'Neill, I think. They're two parents of these football teams, of kids' football teams, and one of them's called the New York, or the Little Giants. They're like the New York Giants. And Rick Moranis and Al Bundy's characters were like opposites in school, and so their kids get these teams and their coaches, and it's a pretty good movie. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is another Rick Moranis. He was a scientist and he shrunk his kids, and they did a couple of those. Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. But back then, the effects were good. There was no CGI. So they had them in a bowl of cereal and Cheerios and running around, and it was pretty cool. This was like another 80s, late 80s, early 90s movies. And then you got Children of the Corn, and which is Malachi, and it's just like a group of like these kids that are just odd, but not. They don't have any parents, and they took over this town. And then Village of the Damned, all these kids all look the same. Christopher Reeve was in the remake of it. The guy who played Superman, most people know him as Superman from a bunch of the movies, and he was a father, I think, in the town. But all the kids were like blonde hair, blue eyed, and I think they were all born or conceived at the same time. It was very odd. Another one of them horror type, but sci-fi, I believe. Yeah, sci-fi. I have a little bit of hip pain again. It's cold and rainy out. Okay, and Mighty Ducks is about the kids, playing hockey. Everybody knows that, and they actually got an NHL team after that. They had a high Mighty Ducks, and there's a new TV show on Netflix or yeah, Disney Plus. I haven't checked out Mighty Ducks. Emilio Estevez is in that, and very good. I like any hockey, of course. I played street hockey in the power wheelchair for 7 years, years ago. And you can do anything, like Doc Brown says about Back to the Future. If you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything, right? And then of course, with the kids. Very good. One of the best movies with kids groups, like just all kids pretty much. And they're fighting that evil clown monster, which is just evil of all time, but it takes different forms. Pretty much like Freddy, in that movie, and Nightmare on Elm Street, Michael Myers, Candyman, another thing. He's not really a thing. It's just what people believe at the moment. You see, it's psychological. All right, and then we're going to talk about. Or these were. Yeah, okay. We're going to talk about some sci-fi now. These were kid movies here, kid groups. Okay, Simone, I've talked about that before. This is about artificial intelligence, like an actress that's created, and this director, I think it's De Niro, gets the chip, and he makes this actress, and people believe she's real. And it's one of the first movies it's late '90s, I think, that's come out like this, and nothing's been done since, uh, as far as this. And then RoboCop, everybody knows the name, but the movie was great. And one of the best kill scenes ever is when they kill the cop who turns into RoboCop. They just blast him apart limb by limb, and they show it all in the movie. And of course he gets rebuilt, but like only 10% of him is RoboCop or is a human. The rest is robot, and he starts to come back as far as remembering and realizing he was human at one time. So it's a deep, there's deepness there too. It's just not a robot shooting up stuff. You know what I mean? The RoboCop, Simone, Lawnmower Man. I did a review on that recently. That's an older one, but that's another AI movie. This guy is kind of like has a mental. He's not really smart. Uh, he's a little slow, but then this accident happens and he just becomes a genius. And Pierce Brosnan is the bad guy in it, so that's different. It's called Lawnmower Man, though. Check it out. There was actually a couple of those. It's kind of almost horror, but not really. The Fifth Element has Bruce Willis and Mila Jovovich. When she was younger, one of her first movies, she had that really like bright red hair, and it was sci-fi in the future, and they never did a sequel to that either. And it kind of had cars like Back to the Future 2, and he was trying to save her, and these people were trying to kill her. Enemy Mine is Lewis Gossett Jr. and Dennis Quaid, and he goes to this other planet, and this alien is pregnant, but I think it's a male alien. It's an odd story. But Lewis Gossett Jr. has some of the best alien makeup with these little spikes or bones on his face and stuff. Different colored eyes. I don't know how he wore all that. And they had to kind of survive together on this planet. The Last Starfighter is another one they never did a sequel to. And that's about a boy recruited to go fight these spaceships. He plays the video game very well. And the aliens take him up in space and he's fighting like these X-Wings. Or he's flying like these X-Wing fighters, kind of. We got a couple more. Philadelphia Experiment. And that was supposed to be based on a true story in the 40s where the government made this ship time travel. But they say it disappeared and then it came back. And there's a couple of movies based on that. I'd check that out. I got some books now, audio I want to listen to. Very good though. It's one of them things. It's like, is it real or wasn't it? Right? Philadelphia Experiment. Forever Young is a Mel Gibson one, and Jamie Lee Curtis is in it. Mel Gibson gets frozen and like thawed out like 30, 40 years later or something. It's pretty neat that he starts getting old. Spoilers really quick because his body catches up. But Jamie Lee Curtis finds him and tries to help him out, and it's pretty neat. Starman is Jeff Bridges, I think was his name. He comes down and he's kind of reborn like this alien, but he's born again as this late, like somebody this lady knows, but she thinks it's like her husband. Or it's been a long time. I've probably seen it once when I was real young. It's very good. Another one of them. Just all these are good stories, you know. And then we got I Come in Peace, which has what's his name? The blonde haired dude from Rocky, Dolph Lundgren. It's about an alien that comes down and he's like taking people's life energies and he just keeps saying, I come in peace. Dolph Lundgren is like the cop, I believe. He's like one of the good guys trying to help instead. You'd think he'd be the bad guy, but he wasn't. And it reminds you of a John Carpenter kind of, but it wasn't a John Carpenter directed film. And then Lucy is a newer one with the girl from Black Widow. Oh man, I can't remember her name right now, the actress. But she's in the movie, and basically these people make her ingest this drug, or they cut her open and put this in her stomach, and it's supposed to be the stuff that makes people like trip and they're smart, right? And then they beat her up, and it gets all in her system, and she just starts becoming. It's odd, but it's called Lucy, and she just becomes almost like everything, the one with everything. I don't want to spoil any more of it, but it's almost like Johnny Mnemonic with Keanu Reeves, where he was carrying information, but this girl like kind of doesn't gets put in a spot and she doesn't want it, but then she gets beat up and it gets put in her whole body all at once. All these pills released. It's worth lots of money too, and then it just starts to react to her body and she's become smarter and can do things and has abilities. And it's called Lucy. So those are pretty good, and I hope you all like those. Check them all out. I recommend them. And I love you all. Love's a choice, and so's the hate. And come back soon to the podcast. We got cameos, still CityCon episodes coming up with some interviews. And my goddaughter's Danny had a slight heart attack. My buddy, he's not even in his late 30s, and his birthday here was April 10th. So please send good vibes out. You know, all is one, right?